Welcome to the Sideline Podcast. My name is Kevin Showalter. My co-host, as always, is Jared Booker, coming at you this evening with episode 29. The band is finally back together. How are you doing, my friend?
Doing well. It's good to be here. I know that a couple weeks ago I was riding solo, and last week you were riding solo. So the band is indeed back together, and I'm thankful to see you.
I feel the same. We are two best friends who love football, fantasy football, and all things sports. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and TikTok at the TSP Community. NHL and NBA playoffs are officially underway, and our ESPN groups are locked. So if you missed the boat, you are not getting in the boat. So we are excited for that. Reminder, the winner of each will get a Starbucks gift card and enjoy some coffee. On this episode, we will be talking NIL, NCAA football. We're going to get into some NHL and NBA playoff. Not a full-blown preview show, but just our predictions for who we think is going to win. And then we have a special thing. I don't know if you want to preview this book, but we're pretty much going to do we are going to do a mock draft of NFL and NCAA coaches. We didn't expand it to high school because we thought we could find enough in those two. So NFL and NCAA coaches, and we are making a mock draft of 8 players, 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and 1 flex. And so the bulk of this episode will be diving into that fun version of a mock draft. There's so many literal mock drafts out there that we figured we'd have a little fun this week as it is
Emphasis
draft.
on mock.
Emphasis on mock. So, without further ado, I've got some trivia here for you. So, this is your first time joining. Feel free to answer in the comments. We will linger for a little bit, but not too long. We're talking a little NIL tonight, so I figured let's get a little NIL question. So who was the first college, that should say player, my bad, the first college player to sign an NIL deal? Was it A, Antoine Owens from Jackson State, B, De'Aaron King, Miami, C, the Cavender sisters, Fresno State, or D, Arch Manning, Texas? Again, if you know the answer, let us know in the chat. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Buck?
So I'm not entirely sure. I mean, Jackson State obviously is where Deion Sanders was coaching during the beginnings of NIL, and you had Travis Hunter there and his son Shedeur Sanders. And so but honestly, I'm not entirely sure who Antoine Owens is, so I sincerely apologize. I do know who De'Aaron King is, though, with Miami. Obviously, I know Cavender sisters. They also play at Miami now, and there's stuff going on there with Carson Beck, but we won't go there. And then Arch Manning, obviously at Texas, but I think I'm going to go B, De'Aaron King.
De'Aaron King. Now, there is some mixed. I'm trying to find my exact thing here. I'm not seeing it there. Nope. Real official here on this trivia in classic TSB fashion.
Classic.
Okay, the answer is A, Antoine Owens. What I was trying to find there is I believe it was a barber shop that he got an NIL deal with. But that was an interesting connection you put there with Deion. My mind didn't even go to Deion and the implications of that. But and the interesting thing is, so A, B, and C actually all signed deals, I think, on day one. And so there's probably some debate over, who got in there first. But from, the search that I did, it looks like Antoine Owens was our first guy. So,
and I actually can confirm. So on July 1st, 2021, he signed with Three Kings Grooming at midnight the day that the NCAA NIL policy went in, and then D. King signed shortly after with college hunks hauling junk.
Nice.
So there you go.
Nice. All right, second question. Oh, there we go. You're better at this whole chat trivia thing than I am. So, or not chat thing, the slides.
You're doing a great job.
I'm the captain now. All right, question 2. Not to stir any PTSD here for Nico Iamaleave. Did I do it? Did I nail it?
Iamaleave.
There we go. Again, we'll give you your chance to let loose here. But where is Nico Iamaleave's hometown? Is it A, Sacramento, California, B, Long Beach, California, C, Honolulu, Hawaii, or D, Spokane, Washington? Again, right, chat, if you know the answer, then let us know if it's one of these 3 or one of these 4. What are your thoughts, Book?
All right, so I'm going to cross off A, Sacramento, California. I do not think it was Sacramento. I'm also going to cross off D, Spokane, Washington. His last name is Iamaleave, and so I feel like, Honolulu, Hawaii, that's going to be a slam dunk, easy. But it is actually, in fact, B, Long Beach, California.
Chat, is he correct? He is correct. Long Beach, California. So, actually, let me just pull up on my notes here. So it's a pretty good segue because the Nico drama, again, I was on here solo last week and got into it a little bit, but you are the resident Rocky Top Vols fan. And so, yeah, we'll just give you the floor here, my brother. Let it out. He signed with UCLA this week, so that was going to be my segue that he actually went home. So there is some, I think we're both on pretty heavily on team Volunteers and Josh Heupel side of this thing, but you can't blame a kid from going home, but also it might have been his only offer. So yeah, what are your thoughts, man? Let it out. Let it out as a passionate Vols fan. How you feeling?
Okay, so let me start off by saying I hold no ill will against Nico. He's just a young kid, but I have so much dislike for the NIL as a whole, not for the idea of what NIL is, but for the way it's currently being handled, and the fact that holdouts are a possibility within the college game. It just takes away the what I love most about college is just like the pure innocence. Like I'm playing for my school. My dad went here. My mom went here. I'm from here. I want to wear those colors and play. I do think guys should be getting compensated, and no one should be going hungry if the universities and the NCAA are making tons of money off of them. So don't hear what I'm not saying. This situation though is really frustrating. Nico did not have an incredible year last year. He threw for 2,600 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. He's a 5-star recruit, but he wanted $4 million. He wanted to adjust his NIL to $4 million per year, and I'm thankful that Heupel and the team did not bite. He skipped practice the day before the spring game. That's not how you like. In that moment, he immediately lost the locker room. And if you are the leader of that team, you can't have that happening. So I'm actually, because he did that, I'm glad he's gone. And I wish him luck at UCLA.
Yeah, I think the latest Bussin' with the Boys episode came out, and they laid it out pretty well, both college athletes, of if you're in an acceptable range, then just play for them. Like you're making 2.2 per year. Sure, that's not for what guys signed for this offseason, but like you got $8 million over 4 years. Bryce Underwood just signed for $10 million over 4 years. So like you're right there. And I don't know how the contract was structured, but they also laid it out perfectly of like more than Nico. And I think I mentioned this last week. This is his counsel, his agent, or his family. Somebody is not, I think somebody is speaking out and really not putting this kid in a good place. And then there should be other people in his life to say no. Like this is not what you should do. So It is hard because it's a lot of money, and we're like, man, just play for the $2.2 million. Like you made money last year. You're gonna make another $2 million this year to stay in college. Like, just do that, man. But he's got family. He's got people he's probably trying to take care of as well. You're one injury away. So I hear all that, but man, your quarterbacks are going to be making 70, 75 million per year when you get to the NFL. Like, your best chance to get to the NFL is to ball out in the SEC, like playing at 10 p.m. for UCLA. I don't think it's it. So any other final thoughts you have on that?
No, I'm just interested to see who starts and if Tennessee picks anyone up in the transfer portal. So we will see.
All right. So we don't have any slides for this. We're going to play a little game here, talking transfer portal. I've got John Mateer, who signed with Oklahoma, Carson Beck with Miami, and now Nico with UCLA. So last year we had Cam Ward, who went to Miami. They didn't make the playoffs, but it was a successful transfer. You know, he's going to be the number 1 overall pick. He had a great season. In all intended purposes, it went well. Then you got DJ Ungolelele, probably butchered that. Not so well. Went to Florida State. It was a complete train wreck. And so my question for you is, with these 3 guys, are they going to be a Cam Ward or are they going to be a DJU? So John Mateer for Oklahoma, is he a Cam Ward or a DJU in your estimation?
I think he is a Cam Ward. Washington State last year, 3,100 yards, 29 touchdowns, and only 7 interceptions. I know that he was playing outside of a conference last year. And the teams that he was playing against were not the level that he will be facing this year. But I think the guys that he has around him, he's going to sling it. And actually, Jaden Ott is now from the University of California. He transferred to Oklahoma as well. So that Oklahoma team is going to be pretty formidable. John Mateer is going to be a Cam Ward next year.
And I don't have the tweet. Speaking of Jaden Ott in California, I don't have the tweet in front of me, but earlier this week, again, I need to fact check it, but I believe they lost 5 running backs to the transfer portal. So I'm sure more information will come out. But that's crazy to lose that many players in one swing. So, okay, I tend to agree with you there. We're not saying John Mateer is going to be the number 1 overall pick, but we think it will go successfully, I guess is the better way to say it. Carson Beck in Miami, Cam Ward or DJU. Also preface, I believe he broke up with his girlfriend. Not that it's completely irrelevant to football, but it sort of can be. Like, if maybe distractions, or I don't even know who his social media influencer girlfriend was, but you know that has a pull on you when you're trying to lock in. So is Carson Beck?
It was one of the Cavender twins.
Was it really? Look at that. See, we got it all just connected, man. So yeah, is he going to be a Cam Ward or a DJU in his next year, which I think will be his final season in college either way?
I think he's going to be a DJ Ward. And yes, I purposefully said both because I think that he has some studs around him at wide receiver. Miami plays in the ACC. It's not, I mean, the ACC is good, but it's not like playing leading Georgia into SEC battle every week. I think playing for Mario Cristobal down there, he's going to do well. But the DJU side of things is the distractions. Like, Miami is, I think I've been to Miami before. I've never been to Athens, Georgia. I have a feeling that there is a lot more distraction down there in Miami than there is in Athens. He's got a ton of NIL money. Good for you. Like, but all this social media stuff and who he's dating, who he's not, his Lamborghini got stolen. Like, I just think that there's so much to distract you from focusing on what you're there to do that he's not going to reach the potential that he could have. So going DJ Ward.
DJ Ward. Nice Switzerland answer. All right. You're man of the hour, Nico to UCLA. Is he going to be a Cam Ward or a DJU? Again, he was a true freshman last year, so he's got two more years before he can. So the interesting thing will be, will he transfer out of UCLA? if you do that, you're really putting a target on yourself of, man, this guy is not gonna stick around. He's going to be that mercenary just bouncing from team to team. So, Nico, I'm not trying to answer for you here, but yeah, Nico, do you see him as a Cam Ward or a DJU? Again, let's just say for this coming season, not long term. This coming season, is it successful or not?
He's going to turn into a DJU. There is a lot of drama to sift through, and he's coming home. I'm looking at the wide receiver depth chart for UCLA, and I'm not like super knowledgeable about them, but I think Mikey Matthews might be their best option out there in the slot. I just don't see. I think maybe he thought Chip Kelly was still there and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go sling it," and then unfortunately, it's not going to be the case. So DJU.
Yeah. All right. So other news / banter. The NHL, we're going to move through these kind of quickly so we can get to our mock draft. But NHL playoffs are here. We're going to do NHL and NBA in honor of our ESPN challenge that we're currently doing. NHL playoffs. Who do you got winning the cup? Well, let's say who do you have making it to the Stanley Cup Finals, and who wins?
I have Dallas and Ottawa in the final. I think Dallas, after signing Nico Rantanen, they're pretty stacked out there. Sagan, I think actually is how you probably pronounce it. He played his first game back today since December. He's a stud. They've got Robertson out there. I just think they're going to make it. And then Ottawa with Brady Tkachuk, he's got the fire in his belly. I think that they both make it, and that Ottawa ultimately brings the Stanley Cup back to Canada for the first time since Montreal did it in 1993. That may not be, with all the political stuff going around, that may not be the most popular answer, but I really do. I like Ottawa this year.
I think I'm going to go with the Capitals, Washington Capitals, beating the Vegas Knights and winning one for Obi. Obviously, we've had the great chase. He broke the record, but I think it's something special. Like, this team he didn't get all those goals on empty calories. And so, like, I think this team capping off the season with a Stanley Cup and that record, like, there's extra juice for, like, hey, we can be remembered forever, boys. Like, not just because we played with Ovi, but like we can get our names on that cup the same year that he broke the record. So that's probably a little bit from my heart. But yeah, that's what I'm gonna go with to cap off a record-breaking year. So
I like it.
Okay, moving to the NBA. Who wins the playoffs? I'll go first here. I'm gonna go LeBron and Luka shock the world and win the NBA championship over Cleveland. Back where it all started, I think LeBron gets his vengeance. Not really. He's probably on good terms with Cleveland at this point. Like, he won them a title. But I just think, I mean, this has been a long stretch here of me roasting the Dallas Mavericks, and I promise it's coming to a close soon. But man, like, Luka and the Mavs were in the finals last year. Like, you're telling me Luka and LeBron, Austin Reeves is playing out of his mind. Like, the game's going to slow down. That only helps when you have a 40-year-old star, and Luka likes to play that stuck in the mud pace. And so I think they're going to be a tough team to beat in a 7-game series. I did tweet earlier this week that I really want to see Warriors versus Lakers. I just think that there's so much there with Jimmy Butler and just the history between Curry and LeBron. So yeah, maybe we'll have to do more of an NBA playoffs episode as they proceed. But that's my pick. Who do you got winning the NBA championship this year?
All right, so I'm picking a little bit more with my heart than with my brain in this moment. But I've got the Knicks and the Thunder making it. The best in the NBA, Oklahoma Thunder, 68-14. They've got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren. Their defense is awesome. I don't see a world where they don't make it. And then here's where I go off the rails because I'm picking the New York Knicks. with Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson to go. I was listening to the radio last year, and Jalen Brunson, I heard he like took this deal that was more of a team focused deal. He took less money so that they could spend money elsewhere, and I immediately thought to myself, I like that. I really like that. I'm going to pull for that guy. So we're
I,
going Knicks against the Thunder, and the Knicks they take the whole thing home.
wow. Let us know in the chat here what we think of Booker picking the Knicks
So dumb.
win the championship. You're serious. I mean, you had good reasons there. It's not just you're not just trying to be a young Skip Bayless and just go off the rails for the sake of going off. But
yeah,
if Jalen Brunson was on any other team, I would be a huge fan of his. And he is like the 76ers kryptonite. And so it just, I can't cheer for him, and he just beats us all the time. But like you said, he's a very likable guy. You got to like Tibbs as a coach. It'll be interesting to see if they can get. I think one quick storyline is it's kind of there's like the new era of talent and then the old guard, and so I'm very curious to see how that shakes out. You have Boston, who has kind of bridged the gap. They are young, but they also won the championship last year. But man, you got like the Cleveland, you got the Knicks, the Thunder, the Rockets, like teams, very, very good depth, but a lot of young stars. And so how's that going to fare against some of these old guys who have been there before? So it'll be interesting. I'm excited. This is some of my favorite time of the year. Obviously, NFL is king. But when you have the NBA and NHL playoffs going on pretty much every night of the week, like this is a great stretch to be a sports fan. And we're excited to be doing this during this time of year. All righty. Without two other quick things, newsworthy, and I don't know if it's worth mentioning it because, at the time of this recording, the UFL has lost two coaches. I wouldn't be shocked if it was, 3 or 4. But Ken Wisenhunt resigned mid-season. Reggie Barlow took a job at Tennessee State. Just brutal look for the UFL. Just losing their coaches. The quality of play is still not there. I'll have to reshare some of my thoughts on X, but I think the NFL. I'd almost like an NFL UFL college football. Like again, I think college football is too big to be under the NFL's umbrella. It is truly its own thing. It's financially. But I think the UFL needs to be acquired by the NFL. Like it needs some, like I posted it like maybe a week ago. I want to see Trey Lance lighting people up in the UFL. That would be exciting. I would want to watch that in the spring when it's like Luis Perez, and the games are 12-9. It's like nobody's going to watch that, man. And so, like your best bet is to put quarterbacks in there who are hungry and talented. Like I've mentioned it before, maybe like a two-way contract scenario where guys could remain on an NFL roster and not lose that. They're not going to, what, Deuces NFL. I'm going to go light up the UFL with hopes of coming back. But if there was like a two-way contract structure, the UFL was officially like bought by the NFL. They already have the TV contracts that make it friendly to do. I just think it's like on a slow march toward death. And I'm like, I hope the NFL can save it because I really think there's potential there, not to usurp the NFL, but just like it would be great to have a developmental system for a guy like a Trey Lance or even an Anthony Richardson. If it doesn't pan out this year, like go tear some guys up in the UFL, develop your skills, throw the ball 60 times for 10 weeks and like see if that helps you become a better passer. Like I think that would only help the younger talent in the NFL give a better product on Sundays and Fridays and Saturdays and sometimes Tuesdays on Christmas. So, anyway, any quick thoughts on that before we get into our NFL coaches mock draft?
No, sir. I think you covered it pretty well.
All right. So without further ado, we have got our TSP coaches mock draft. Again, the rules are 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 flex. We did pick these prior to the show just so we didn't double up and we're a little more prepared with who we're going to talk about rather than on the spot trying to think of things. We did agree this is tackle football, so there is a physical element. You've seen the videos of Pete Carroll absolutely spinning it, but if Pete Carroll put on full pads, I don't think he'd make it past one snap. So you'll notice a lot of our guys are on the younger side with a few curveballs in there. So yeah, without further ado, Booker, you had the first pick. Why don't you let us know who you got?
All right. So for my first pick, I am picking my flex position, and I think it is ultra fitting that who I picked for my flex position is Marcus Freeman. Look at him flexing right there. This man is no stranger to the weight room. The only knock against him that I have is that he played for the Ohio State Buckeyes from 2004 to 2008, but he was a linebacker, and I would not have want to go against him. He's a lunch pail guy with swagger, and I feel like he'd be willing to just play any position. So flex, whether I pop him into quarterback or running back to give one of my other starters a rest. So going Marcus Freeman.
Yeah, solid pick. Honestly, when you picked flex first, I was like, oh boy, that's kind of shocked me. But then you look into it a little more and you're like, okay, yeah, I get it. All right, I'm on the clock next. I went quarterback. Not that there was only one option, but my first couple picks, I was like, these are my guys unless Booker takes one. So I'm going Michael Vick. Absolute gunslinger. He's only I think he's right around 40 years old, coach at Norfolk State. If I'm not, I might mix up. Yeah, he's at Norfolk. My later pick is at another not as well-known state, but yeah, in this group of guys that we're picking, I think Michael Vick could not only still use his legs in a crazy good way, but be slinging the ball all over the yard. And so, yeah, if you dropped him back into an NFL locker room, okay, he might not be able to do it, but in the coach's world, I think this was a slam dunk pick for me when I saw he was still on the board. So Mike Vick, give me the lefty. He's probably not running a 4.4 speed anymore, but shoot, give me a 4.9 Michael Vick at 40 years old. I'll be dicing you up.
Love it.
All right, so we did this go ahead. So we did this Booker did one. I'm picks 2 and 3. He's 4 and 5. Back and forth, I think around pick 10, and we start alternating. But so I am next on the clock, and it was interesting you had talked about flexing. This guy's not in my flex position, but this guy is an absolute unit. We don't get bonus points for facial hair, but if we did, he would also get some bonus points there. I've got this guy at tight end. He's an absolute beast. Aaron Feld. He is the strength coach at Oregon and an absolute unit. I was looking it up today, and I believe he did play college ball at Mississippi State. Yeah, he's a beast. Give me Aaron Feld at tight end so I can block with this guy. I'm sure he can catch the ball. If not, we'll just put him into blocking position. I got plenty of other guys who can catch the ball, but an absolute unit.
Maybe he could just sling mustache wax right into his opponent's eyes.
Yeah. But
yeah, that guy's a unit.
That guy, I mean, he looks like he could suit up right now in a college or NFL game. So, yeah. I'll have to show you off the air. But I saw a picture of him from high school, his high school recruiting, and I was like, "Is that the same guy?" I was like, "This can't be the same guy," but I'm pretty sure it was. He was a little bit of a late bloomer, but with all due respect, Mr. Feld, you could crush me like a grape. So, yeah, I'm happy to have him on my team. All right, you're on the clock. Pick 4. Who you got?
Pick 4. All right, and let me just say the Michael Vick pick, absolutely love it. Best left-handed, the most beautiful left-handed throw I feel like I've ever seen. So. All right. For my next pick, I picked a running back, even though the individual that I picked for running back is not historically a running back, not someone who played running back in his career. but someone nonetheless that you would not want to see coming down the lane to try to stop. So I'm going Dwight Freeney, baby, and I'm so excited about this pick.
I
Dwight
bet you
Freeney,
are.
just
Oh my
defensive
God.
end in the NFL. He's got that special, the Dwight Freeney signature spin move. And he does that
Yeah.
in the hole, and he's gone. So
Yeah.
he's just mean. So short yardage, bruiser, explosive first step. He won a Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts in 2006, so he knows how to win. He also is a Pro Bowler 7 times. Uh, he's in the Hall of Fame as well as of 2019. So I think his
He would
comp
be
is going to be
impossible to
like,
tackle.
oh yeah, he's a Mike Tolbert with pass rush rage. All right, so that's my number, my second pick of the draft. But pick number 4, Dwight Freeney, running back. For my next pick, this is a more traditional pick at running back. I guess I got my pick is Eddie George. He's the head coach at Tennessee State, and I don't know if you've ever heard of this man, but
Oh yeah.
he's got quite. No, I know you have. He's got
Yeah.
quite the resume. He is a running back. He could still carry the ball 30 times a game. Just a classic downhill runner, no nonsense. He started all 130 regular season games during his tenure with the Oilers and the Titans, making him one of only 2 running backs in NFL history to rush for over 10,000 yards without missing a start. The other one being Jim Brown. So
Wow.
he's a workhorse. Recorded 8 consecutive seasons with at least 300 rushing attempts. So I don't know. He could still suit up. So Eddie George, my second running back.
That's really a good. That's a good stat pool for durability, especially with a bunch of old dudes out there where their hamstrings are going to be just hanging on by a thread. Like going, I did not value durability as highly as I probably should have, and so we will ask. Let us know, chat, who you think is winning this draft so far. We will try and stir up some social media discussion as well once we complete this. So. I'm going pick 6 here. Deshaun Jackson. Again, another one of these no-brainers. Durability is going to be a question, but he's already got the built-in connection with my quarterback. One of the prettiest throws I've ever seen in a football game. Monday Night Football against I believe it was the Redskins at the time, Commanders now. And he just uncorks it for like 70 yards. And Deshaun Jackson just streaking down the field. Oh, it's like one of the best. I wish we had the streaming rights to just put it up here right now. But anyway, I don't know how fast he is currently, but I'm fairly confident that, he could still turn it on again against some other 40-year-old, 50-year-old coaches. This was a bit of a no-brainer for me.
I like it.
All right, so back to back. You honestly kind of scared me into the running backs here because you went so running back heavy. So I was like, oh, I better get a running back. But I should have thought like, hey, I had some time here because you filled up your 2 running back spots. Anyway, this guy was a childhood. And I'm not just trying to go Eagles homers here. It is tricky when we're trying to find guys that are coaches. And so it just happens to be. But this guy was one of my favorites as a kid for the Eagles. He is now coaching for the Detroit Lions, and Deuce is on the loose. He was a beast, and I'm pretty sure he could still give it to some of these old coaches. And so, that's my pick for obvious reasons. He's got the mind is still sharp, even if the body's not. And just a little spoiler, how I'm building this team is we're going to throw the ball a lot. So, I've got serviceable running backs, but I'm planning to, I'm going 2 tight ends, and I'm giving Mike Vick as much time as possible to uncork deep balls. So that's my strategy. All right, you're up next with pick 8.
All right, I like that pick. If you had Dwight Freeney running full speed and Deuce Staley running full speed at one another, do you think just an explosion? Or
yeah, probably. I actually thought Dwight was a little taller. I looked it up here while you were talking. He's only 6'1". 268 was his playing weight. So he's probably like 280 at the moment. I don't know. Some of these guys slim down in their retirement, but yeah, I guess I thought Freeney was a little taller than that, but Deuce, we have Deuce at 5'11", probably a clean 250 pounds. He's 5'11", 242 was his playing weight. So, he's probably at like 265 in this photo. Just an absolute unit. So I don't know. Low man wins in football. So Deuce might get him in that Oklahoma drill.
I agree. Well, I changed my pick last second. It was going to be Sam Pittman out of Arkansas, and then I realized, that's probably that's a mistake. So I took Sam Pittman out and threw Dwight Freeney in. Just a straight across trade there.
Yeah. That was probably around the time where we were talking. Is this tackle football or flag football?
Yeah. Yep.
All right, we got it. So 8.
Speaking of durability and the lack probably thereof, my next pick is at tight end, and I'm taking Jim Harbaugh, man.
Yeah.
I think that, he played college football at the University of Michigan from 83 to 86. Big Ten championships, 1987 Rose Bowl, Heisman Trophy finalist. I know he was a quarterback, but he seems like the kind of guy that would spike the ball after a 6-yard completion.
Yeah.
And to me, he's like a George Kittle in khakis. So we're going Jim Harbaugh. All right. And my next pick, here's another. We've actually been doing some pretty fun connections this entire podcast. So I'm liking this. I got Shane Beamer, head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks, was a wide receiver. And do you know where he played wide receiver for 1 year before becoming a long snapper?
No, I have no idea. I didn't know you were going long snapper on that one. No, I got
no you're
idea.
Good. He was a wide receiver.
Yeah. Any ideas, chat, where he played?
Well, here's the connection. Good. So he started at Virginia Tech as a wide receiver, and guess who was at Virginia Tech in 1999 when they went to the championship game for the first time?
No way. Mike Vick. Yep, Mike Vick slinging it to him. So, that's crazy.
No. He was not playing. He was actually not playing wide receiver when they went. He was was the long snapper.
Got you.
He was still on the same team, and so he's got that pedigree, So
yeah,
Shane Beamer.
All right, pick 9. I'm back on the clock with pick 10. I almost wanted to put this guy at quarterback because I saw some of his high school highlights recently, and I was like, wow, this guy is a beast. Also probably the smartest football player football mind on my team. So he's also bringing coaching type value. I think we're assuming that me and you are on the headsets. We're coaching these guys up because we're obviously qualified to do that. But I want a guy on the field who can help, navigate my dribble and bad calls to like, you know what, we got it, coach, is what we need. So I went Sean McVay. Look at Sean McVay. Look at him in high school. Absolute unit. And he's still squatting. He's still under 40. Honestly, he was almost one of my early picks. I was like, this guy, the brain on him again, he couldn't play NFL quarterback, but like in this league, in our little coaches, old man league, I think he probably should have been a top quarterback off the board. So, I get a coach on the field. I get versatility. One of the younger guys drafted, just an absolute steal at pick 10. Not quite as big of a steal, I think, as my pick 12 coming up. But yeah, I'm very happy to land Sean McVay here in the fifth or sixth pick on my team. So anyway, who you got 11?
Nice pick. My only question is, like, how tall is he? Sean McVay seems like more bowling ball guy.
Again, but I'm going quickness. We didn't talk who's on defense in these situations, but we're assuming kind of a 7-on-7, but focused on offense.
I think it's Sam Pittman.
It's Sam Pittman, but I know all the confidence that he's got enough quickness to make up for a lack of height. So
fair enough.
I'm not finding any height on him, so that probably means he's under 6 foot.
Yeah, he hides that, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so for my next pick, I've got pick 11. I kind of did this unconventionally because I'm at pick 11. I'm picking my quarterback, and I'm picking a guy who played backup quarterback 1 year at Texas Tech and uh, played backup to Cliff Kingsbury. Um, his name is Lincoln Riley, and I'm not a huge Lincoln Riley fan, but the thing that I do appreciate about him uh, is look at who he has had a hand in developing. Baker Mayfield,
Mm.
2017, Kyler Murray, 2018, Jalen Hurts, 2019. So two of those, Mayfield and Murray, selected as number one overall picks, and then the other guy wasn't a number one overall pick, but yeah, he won the Super Bowl last year. So I think he knows how to develop quarterbacks, and so maybe now in all the wisdom that he has gained, he can apply that to himself and get those guys the ball down the field. So I'm going Lincoln Riley at pick 11 for quarterback.
All right. And this to me at 12 is my ultimate value pick, second to last pick. But this guy, I believe, is the alpha male on my team. He's in my flex position. I don't know if he can spin it at quarterback, but shoot, he could line up in the gun and just go direct snap. And I don't know if there's a person on this list that would want to tackle Mr. Mike Vrabel.
Yeah.
My intentions are just to line him up at tight end. Again, I want him. I want Feld blocking, keeping Vic nice and comfy back there, so Jackson and McVay can get open. But yeah, Mike Vrabel, the ultimate utility guy. I almost didn't want to use this picture because it's against the Eagles, but an incredible catch. He played defense. He was dare I say he was the original Travis Hunter? Is that blasphemous on here to
Yeah, I don't know
say
that
that
I
he
know
was?
that.
All right, let's keep it moving. But yeah,
That's
he is
really
Mike
fun.
Vrabel, pick 12 flex. I think I get an absolute steal here.
Yeah, that is a steal. Vrabel went through my mind as well, obviously, but I also wanted to keep it entertaining, So you may have just an absolute stout team, but I've got an entertaining team. My locker room
Mm.
is going to be pretty silly. So
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
so pick number 13. It's my last pick. I needed one more wide receiver. Um, this guy played college football in like just a tiny school, and I forgot the name of it, but now the head coach at the University of Oregon, Mr. Dan Lanning. And the reason I picked him, I do not like the University of Oregon. We live in Washington State. I do not like the University of Oregon, but I cannot help but like Dan Lanning.
Yeah.
He brings energy. He would bring energy, confidence, and swagger. Uh, he's a leader, and he's all about substance over hype. And at one point, I heard someone call him a psychological savage. Last year, 2024, with the Ducks leading the University of Washington 28-14, he brought a Washington helmet into the locker room at halftime and had the strength and conditioning coach smash it with a sledgehammer.
Oh my gosh.
And like, if that doesn't look like my locker room is going to be, we're going to be hyped, man. We may lose, but we're going to be hyped. So Dan Lanning, pick 13, wide receiver.
And Feld lining up against on the other side of Dan Lanning would certainly be interesting. We talked the Freeney versus Deuce. When I saw you go Jim Harbaugh, I really wanted to go John Harbaugh and find a spot for him because I was like, oh, that brother on brother rivalry would be sweet. But I needed one more running back, and there was no other man I could choose other than the Stump Mitchell. I'll let you decide if you think the man named Stump is the guy in the helmet or the visor do-rag combo. This guy is awesome. I saw him on the sideline a couple years ago during a game. I was like, I don't know who that guy is, but I want him on the Eagles ASAP. I don't have his stats in front of me, but he ran for over 1,000 yards in the league. He led the league in yards per attempt or yards per carry at 5.5 yards back in like the 70s when everybody ran the ball. Stump Mitchell has coached some of the best running backs in the game. This isn't a pick because I'm giving him the carry or I'm giving him the ball, 15, 20 times. But how can I not pick this guy for vibes, for the culture. And if I need 1 yard line, I'm probably going to still give it to Deuce Staley, but I'm at least putting Stump out there for, for some show and maybe throw him a swing pass or two. So, that concludes our mock draft. Again, we will put out some graphics with both of our teams in full display, so you can pick for yourself who you think is the superior team or the funniest or the best locker room. But I think that'll conclude us for tonight.
I did want to add that Stump Mitchell, his real name is Livonia Albert Mitchell, but Stump got he was named or nicknamed Stump for some reason, but he played at the Citadel, where he set school records for single season rushing records. So, man, I like the Stump pick, baby.
I guess the Stump is probably something to do with he's a pretty short guy. He's not I'm definitely guessing he's sub 5'10". So, thanks again for listening to this podcast. If you enjoy the content, you can follow us on X at the TSP Community. Same handles on YouTube and TikTok. You can follow Booker at TSP_Booker or myself at TSP Kevin. Again, thank you for joining us. Until next time, feel free to like and subscribe this video on YouTube. Would also help us out a lot. Have a great evening. Till next time.
Night, everybody.